Hello everybody, we're getting ready to do lesson 9.3 of Algebra 1 Math, part 1, solving quadratic functions by graphing. Here's our 9.3 lesson. Here is our standard. It is part 1, and we got a 36-point skill sheet here, and we have a 0-point notebook sheet, but we do have a 36-point skill sheet. You can get those at that email. Teachers, here's your bell work for this lesson, and it's a word problem here. Is a how would you say that? Parabolic arch that could be modeled by the graph of this equation here, when x and y are measured in feet. So give your students graph the function, use the graph to determine how wide the hanger is at the base. So graph it. Give your students 5 minutes. Okay, welcome back. We're going to go over our solution here. Here is the graph. Distance in feet, we go way over here, so almost 250 feet for it is what it looks like. That should be the graph that your students have for today's bell work. And here it says, well, let's see, the roughly 243 feet. The hanger is about 243 feet wide. So negative 243, when x equals 50. When x equals 0, we get 0, 0, 0. So when x equals 50, y equals 67, 50. So let's see, when x equals 243, so it hits the ground right between 242 and 243 and 0. So I guess this would be roughly your answer here. Okay, on to our 9.3, solve quadratic equations by graphing. You solve quadratic equations by factoring. You will solve quadratic equations by graphing. So a quadratic equation is equation can be written in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a cannot equal 0. You have used factoring to solve a quadratic equation. You could also use graphing to solve quadratic equation. Notice that the solutions of the equation are the x-intercepts of the graph of the related function y equals ax squared plus bx. Okay, solve by graphing and solve by factoring. So here's our solution here for that. And then x equals 1 or x equals 5. So solve this equals 0, graph y equals x squared minus 6x plus 5. Here is basically the graph for this one here. X squared. So our x-intercepts are here at x equals 1 and x equals 5. So those will be your solutions here done by graphing, whereas over here you did it algebraically. From the graph you can see x-intercepts are 1 and 5. Okay. To solve a quadratic equation by graphing, first write the equation in standard form. Then graph the related function, ax squared plus bx plus c. The x-intercepts of the graph are solutions or roots of that. So, example 1 here, solve this by graphing. Write the equation in standard form. Write the original equation, subtract 3 from both sides. We're going to move this over here. It's in standard form, and then here would be our graph. Graph the function, and then we got negative 1 and 3 would be our solutions there for this quadratic function. The x-intercepts are negative 1 and 3, so the solutions of the graph are negative 1 and 3 by graphing. Okay, you can check negative 1 and 3 in the original. You plug those into the original, and you get to the equal 3, and 3 equals 3, so the solutions check. So the graph is correct. Okay, our first guide practice. Students, pay attention so you can do yours. This is yours on your own. Okay, we're going to solve this by graphing. So we got a graph here, and it's 1 and positive 4 are our solutions. So you just graph it and see where your graph is the x-axis. Okay, example 2, solve a quadratic equation having one solution. So there is our quadratic. Write the equation in standard form. You move the 1 over to the other side. Then we have here, this is our standard form. And then now we graph it, and we have right here becomes tangent at 1. When x equals 1, that would be our solution here is 1. The x-intercept is 1. Solution of the equation would be 1 for this quadratic here. Okay, our guided practice. Pay attention, students. So you can, this is yours here. Let's do the first guided practice. Solve by graphing. We're going to put it in standard form. Move that 9 over. And then here's our graph here at 3. So it intersects or is tangent at 3. So that'd be our solution. X-intercept is 3. That's 9.3 part 1. Part 2, part 3 is here and everything else. Thank you very much.